welcome back to my channel. ஸோ இன்றைக்கி என்ன வீடியோ பார்க்க போகிறோன்னா நாங்கள் இன்ஸ்டாகிராமில் கேட்டிருந்தோம். உங்களுக்கு வந்து நிறைய பேர் வந்து வீடியோவில் காமெண்ட் பண்ணியிருந்தீங்க நீங்கள் எப்படி மீட் பண்ணீங்க, உங்கள் லவ் ஸ்டோரி சொல்லுங்கள் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. ஸோ எங்களோட இன்ஸ்டாகிராமில் கேட்டிருந்தோம் உங்களுக்கு என்னெல்லாம் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் இருக்குது எங்களோட ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் பற்றி அண்ட் ஹவ் வி மெட் அண்ட் இனிஷியல் ஸ்டோரி. அண்ட் நிறைய பேர் நிறைய கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்டிருந்தீங்க. ஸோ தேங்க்யூ ஃபார் தேட். அண்ட் நிறைய டாபிக்ஸில் கொஸ்டின் வந்திருந்தது. ஸோ ஒரு வீடியோவில் வந்து எல்லாத்தையும் கவர் பண்ண முடியாது. ஸோ we thought we'll make this like a mini series, and so we thought we'll make this as part 1 about how we met and our initial few years of knowing each other and answering some questions related to that. And vara series la family, kalyano, proposal, adha pathila questions vanda answer pannalam solittu we thought. So yeah, this is the first video. I hope you enjoy it and let's get into it.
So first question is, how did we meet? 2017, Liverpool, Lecture Theatre. She walked down some steps in the Lecture Theatre. She smiled at me. I didn't smile back, but we definitely made eye contact.
Yeah, so at that point I didn't know who he was. So I just saw someone new in my Lecture Theatre because Dylan joined in my second year. And so I just saw and I smiled at him and he was just like, and I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So I just walked out and I went on with my day. And then I didn't see him for a good 3 weeks. And then one day in the canteen, I was just sitting and eating lunch. I was eating lunch and I was doing some work. So I was just sitting in a full table by myself. And suddenly Dylan comes and he's like, hi, can I sit here?
I needed someone to have lunch. And there was a free table. So
That's it. That's the reason why you sat next to me.
Yes. Okay. But look where it's come to. And so I asked to sit next to her, and that's how we started talking.
Yeah.
Went to lectures, and we started talking. And then I think a week later, you messaged me on Facebook.
Yeah.
And she wanted help with stuff because, you know, more intelligent.
No, it's because Dylan's a pharmacist by background. And at that point, I என்னோட ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸோட தங்கிட்டு இருந்தேன். And ஏதோ படிச்சுட்டு இருந்தபோது ஏதோ pharmacy question ஏதோ வந்தது. We had to do an essay or something. So I was like, oh guys, I met a pharmacist actually, I'll ask him சொல்லிட்டு. At that time, I was the first one who messaged him on Facebook just asking for a question. And with that is how we started talking.
I invited you around for dinner at my house.
Yeah, so he was staying with his friends. And he was like, oh, do you want to come meet my friends? Do you want to come for dinner? And so I went. I was wearing a nice dress. I took a bottle of wine and I went to their house and everyone was just in like tracks and PJs. Dylan was literally in like a cut bunny and I was like, okay.
But we had a nice time.
But we had a good time.
I think my friend made us dinner actually.
Yeah, Dylan's friend Henry, shout out Henry. Henry made dinner that day.
And then I think we went on one date.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a date.
No, she turned up and she turned up in leggings, a hoodie and a backpack. And I was in a shirt and trousers.
Yeah, he was like, we were talking, he was like, oh, is there anywhere nice to eat in Liverpool? And I was like, yeah, there's this place called Death Row Diner. It's like a burger place, it's nice. So he's like, okay, we should go. So I didn't think much of it. At that point, we were only speaking for a little while. So I just like went after college, after class one day, and Dylan was like, we're fully dressed up, he had flowers, and I was like, oh, okay. But it was cute, we had a good time.
We did.
Yeah.
And I think you went to India. She surprised her family in Chennai for Diwali. We didn't speak for we spoke, but not very often, for about a week.
Yeah.
And then she came back and then we started talking again properly, only over text really. And then she was in the library. Well, it was October the 27th. She was in the library and I asked her to be my girlfriend.
Here's a picture of me and Dylan when we met. I'll put the oldest picture I can find. So the next question someone asked is, who asked who out? Like, who made the first move? So I would say I made the first move because I messaged him on Facebook. Even if it was for work, it doesn't matter. But
I sat next to you. But then she'll say, I smiled at you first.
Yeah, so overall, I made the first move. But anyway, So then, so in November, so we met in September. At some point, August, September, and then in October, I went to India. I went to India for Diwali, and I came back. And one the 2 3 days we were talking, and then I was in the library, and Dylan was like. He just messaged me saying, "Oh, I'm in the library too. Can you come down?" So I just came down. So எங்க காலேஜ் லைப்ரரியில் வந்து ஸ்டூடெண்ட் ஐடி கார்டு இருந்தால் தான் உள்ளே போக முடியும். பட் யார் வேணாலும் வெளியில் போயிடலாம். ஸோ நான் என்னோடய ஃபோன் மட்டும் எடுத்துகிட்டு யோசிக்காமல் அப்படியே வெளியில் போயிட்டேன். அண்ட் ஹி வாஸ் தேர். ஸோ ஹி லிட்டரலி லுக்ட் ஸோ சீரியஸ் அண்ட் I was like, what happened? I thought something bad happened. So I was like, oh, hi. So we sat in the sofa and I was like, hi, like, how are you okay? And then what did you say?
I asked her what she thought of us, what she thought this was.
Yeah, I was like...
And then I asked her, do you want to be my girlfriend? And she just kind of nodded. It was maybe a little bit mean of me to put her on the spot.
No, it wasn't mean. I was very happy. I was very excited, but I didn't know what to say. I was just very quiet and I just smiled.
But it was a nice moment. And for us at that moment, it was, I think for me, I wanted to establish what it meant between the two of us, our relationship. And I think it has actually set foundations for us because from that moment on, we were boyfriend and girlfriend.
So yeah, that's how Dylan asked me out in the library. Funny part of the story was all this happened and we hugged and everything. And then he was like, okay, I have to go back home. And I was like, okay. So, and I had to go back in the library, but bye solliட்டு நான் உள்ள வர ட்ரை பண்றேன் எனக்கு ஸ்டூடெண்ட் கார்டு இல்லை. So I was just stuck outside and I had to call the security guy to come and let me in because all my things were upstairs. But that was cute. That's how Dylan asked me out. Someone asked which year we met. We met in 2017, like Dylan already said. So we weren't friends for very long. And someone else asked, were you friends first? We weren't friends for that long. We met in September 2017 and we started dating in October. So like end of October. So for 2 months we were friends. But yeah. What was our first impressions of each other? What was your first impression of me?
Well, so I would say ignoring the walking down the stairs in the lecture theatre, my mind wasn't thinking about it. But when I went up to you, when you were sat in the guild, I think I just felt comfortable. I didn't feel nervous about walking up to you, even though I didn't know you. It was this calming presence. It's how I feel at the moment when I talk to you, that I can trust you with anything, whatever problem I've got. And I think at that point, it's nerve-wracking to just go and sit next to someone who you don't know and talk to them. And I think that's what I found your presence was.
That's cute.
Yeah.
My first impression was, what's this arrogant guy? I just smiled at him and he turned away. But that was the first time I ever saw him.
Next question.
Where is Dylan from?
So I was born in England, born in Leicester, and I grew up in this small town called Kettering.
His grandparents, his ancestors are from Gujarat.
Yes, they are. So what's the age difference between the two of us? I am now 30, Dia's 25, and actually in a month's time she's about to turn 26.
Yeah, like 4 years.
So it's just 4 and a bit years.
I think the age difference didn't make that much of a difference for us because we were in the same stage in college. So the reason Dylan's older is because he did pharmacy before coming to medical college. But because we were in the same year, I think it didn't really matter at the time. And then after we knew each other for a while, I don't know. It's never really been a problem, mostly.
I think it also...
So how long were we dating before we got married?
When we got engaged...
We got engaged in... December 2022.
Yeah.
5 years. So before we got engaged, we were dating for 5 years. But that seems like a very long time. But you have to remember, we were college at that time. So I don't know. The time in uni didn't... It was very like, everything we would think about our future would be after college. Because in college we were still studying, we were living with our friends. So most of the bulk of the years was in college. And then, but officially, before we got engaged, we were going on for 5 years.
Yeah.
And now it's coming up to 8 years?
8 years of knowing each other.
Yeah, 8 years of knowing each other. When did you know I was the person you wanted to marry? Well, I think it's difficult to answer when I knew Dylan was the person I wanted to marry, but my most like solidifying experience was 100% lockdown, because until lockdown நான் வந்து ஊருக்கு வந்து எப்போ வேணாலும் போகலாம், இந்தியாவுக்கு போகிறது, I was not that homesick ever, because every college leave I used to go to India, or my parents used to come here, and எனக்கு வந்து the world seemed very small. But as soon as lockdown came, and then all my friends went back home, because யாருக்குமே எதுவுமே தெரியல, அவங்க தனியாக விட்டுட்டு போகணுன்னு போகல, பட் ஃபஸ்ட்டு 3 weeks லாக்டவுன் சொன்னாங்க, அப்புறம் 1 month லாக்டவுன் சொன்னாங்க. ஸோ நோ ஒன் நியூ வாட் வாஸ் ஹேப்பனிங். ஸோ நான் 3 weeksக்கு வந்து சேஃபாக நம்ம வந்து காலேஜ் ஃப்ளாட்லேயே இருந்துடலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு இருந்துட்டேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் that 3 weeks became like 2 months, 2.5 months.
It was almost 3, yeah.
Yeah, and then at that point, I had only met Dylan's parents once, and we'll come on to that story in the next part. But Dylan just, he spoke to his parents, he took me to his house. I stayed there for like 3 weeks. So lost. I didn't know where to go. I could either be alone at home, or I could be with Dylan's parents, who I didn't know much at that time. And it was when he really stood up for me, and he was really there for me. He tried to be everything all at once, which was my biggest strength. Otherwise, for 4.5-5 months, I was stuck in UK all alone, couldn't go back to India, and that was the point where I was like, okay, this boy is gonna take care of me, it's fine. I was like, it's okay, I can survive the apocalypse with this person. So that was like the biggest thing for me.
For me, I knew October the 27th, 2017.
Liar.
I knew exactly what I wanted.
You do in 2017.
I knew. Why would I have asked you out?
Yeah, but that's different to like being like, this person is my person.
I knew she was my person.
Whatever.
But to be honest, Dia helped me throughout med school. She got me through it, and getting into med school was my dream.
Thing of like, he was in his college, he was doing his dream course, but he was scared of like
Failing almost.
Or messing it up or something like that.
But she carried me through, and it was that same year, to be fair. COVID.
Just before COVID.
Yeah, COVID hit, and it was just, we then began living out of each other's pockets, really.
Yeah.
Where I needed her, she needed me.
It's another thing. If you like want to be around someone 24/7 and you can't go out and you can't see your friends and you can't leave the house, then that really makes you know a person.
A gift that we've given each other that means a lot. Dia gave me my wallet.
Oh yeah.
And
so there's actually a story behind this wallet. So I got Dylan this Ted Baker wallet for Valentine's Day, but this was in 2020. Yeah, 2020 Valentine's Day, just before COVID. So the reason I got that wallet was because I forgot to get him a present for Valentine's Day. So we were going out for dinner, and he got me flowers, and I think you got me a present, but I honestly can't remember what it was. But then when we were at dinner, I was like, oh, your present didn't come, sorry. But the thing is, I don't know what happened. I was having a very hectic few weeks in college or something. I just completely forgot to get him a gift.
She forgot about the love of her life to get
At that point, we were not engaged, so it's fine.
It was still the love of her life at that point in time.
So anyway, so at dinner I was like, oh, your present was supposed to come in the mail, but like varla. So he was like, okay, it's fine, whatever, it doesn't matter. And Dylan's the last person who cares about presents and things. So anyway, that day I went home, and I was like, which shop is gonna give next day delivery? And so Ted Baker had next day delivery, so I was like, okay, perfect. So I got him this wallet and belt. Yeah, it came like in a set. So I got him that, and then in the wallet I wrote a little note, and I put it in the back of his wallet, and then I said, this is my present. And he still has the wallet, and he still has the note in the back. My favorite present that Dylan got me is this Hollister jacket. And the reason why it's my favorite is because when we were in college, obviously, like everyone in college, like, you know, you're very careful about where you spend your money, and like there's very limited things you can do money wise. So, and I love to shop and all these things. So, the first thing Dylan did when he got his first salary, so he started working 1 year before me because Nadula I did a master's. So when I was in final year, Dylan started working. And when he got his first month's salary, we were just walking around in the shops, like in the city center. We weren't intending on going shopping or anything like that. And we were just walking around the shops, and I saw this jacket, and it was really cute, so I put it on. And நான் எப்பயுமே வந்து ஒரு thing ட்ரை பண்ணிட்டு திரும்பி வச்சுட்டு இல்லை வேணுமா வேணாமா ரொம்ப யோசிப்பேன். So I tried it on, and then I was like, illa, it's okay. So I just left it and I came. And Dylan went back to the shop and he just bought, and he's not the kind of person who just does things on a whim like this. He thinks about things a lot, but he just went and he bought it, and he said, this is the first time in my life I've earned money, like money enough to spend on other people, and so I'm just gonna buy it. And I still wear that jacket all the time. So that's probably it's not the I don't think it's the present itself that matters, even though it's such a nice jacket. I think it's the stories behind it, and that's
the wallet, the jacket. They're simple, insignificant products, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But the stories and the thought that goes behind.
Our first date was when we went to Death Row Diner, when I didn't know it was a date. So we went, and also, so we went to Death Row Diner, and it was a burger place. So you can imagine how messy it is to eat. And I didn't think of any of these things. I just suggested the place because it was nice, and I didn't know it was a date. So I was there in my like leggings and my backpack, eating this big burger, getting sauce all over my face. And God knows how Dylan asked me out again.
But the sad thing is, actually, it's closed down in Liverpool.
Yeah,
so
we really wanted to go before it closed down, but we didn't have the time. But we'll always have good memories. The first movie we watched together, we don't at that time we didn't watch that many movies in the cinema. Like college la irukumbodhu, that was not a very big thing. Friends oda povom, but taniya first movie we watched was Greatest Showman. I think because I have a little scrapbook that I don't update as much these days, but I used to update a lot in college. So it used to be all the little things we used to do together, and like I used to print pictures and cut it, or put tickets and flight tickets, train tickets on the Murray, and I have a picture of the Greatest Showman in that. So I think that was the first movie we watched. Who said I love you first? This guy. Balancing how we balance work in college and our relationship, I think that's a balance we're still finding.
College was much easier because the thing is we would see each other every day without having to try. The hard one was my first year at work. Well, COVID was hard, but that's a different story.
Yeah, college was okay. And also, like, with education, I think both of us knew where we wanted to go, what we wanted to do. Both of us we knew our priorities quite early on, and I think that's the reason why things worked quite easily, because no one got upset when the other person had to revise, or like when they had to work or anything like that. And we used to revise together a lot. That was like especially like third year, fourth year, when the exams started to matter more. A lot of the time we used to spend together in like particular exam periods was just revising together, even if it was in the same like study room or something like that. And we both had our priorities straight in that, and I don't think we let our relationship affect it. If anything, it helped each other. So because we would try and revise together and help each other. So that was, we didn't really find that difficult. But work was the difficult thing, because I was still in Liverpool for final year, and
I was in Manchester. So it's when you're doing on calls with long days, long nights, and you're tired as well. When someone else you're at uni where it's, you know, completely different lifestyle. And the driving as well. It's a good hour's drive. So that definitely was difficult, and we have definitely fought.
Yeah, I think
But-
that was the hardest. Living in different cities was the hardest because between finishing college and getting married, we just lived in different cities.
Because
So,
then afterwards you
For
came
3
to
years,
Leeds,
yeah.
and I was in Manchester, and you were in Leeds. So that in itself was difficult, which was the exact same. And then our rotas never matched up. So
Yeah. So for 3 years, it was hard. I wouldn't say it was like we fought a lot. There were times where, and on top of this, Dylan was also doing his surgical exams, his part 1 of surgical exams. So he had to revise, and I wanted to spend time with him, but I also just started working. So there's no easy way. It was a hard period of time. I'm sure there'll be other hard times too, but in every disagreement and every argument, we found why we're doing this. We found love for each other,
I
and
think also though, in the future we're not going to have that distance.
yeah, distance I feel for a lot of people who do long distance, because I've done it for 3 years, and I can, well, not long distance, it was still drivable. Other people have it way more intense, but not being able to see someone like within 15-20 minutes.
Yeah,
That's hard.
and
It's not like it was all doom and gloom. We had
No.
some really good times in those 3 years. We went on holiday. We went off on our first holiday to Italy, which was so fun. It was my dream to go to Lake Como, so we went for my birthday. And, we did little breaks in UK. We visited Dylan's parents. So we just made it work because we knew what was important. And the last question we have here today is, will we learn each other's languages and overcoming language barriers? Firstly, I want to learn Gujarati, and I really want Dylan to learn Tamil. The reason being